Hello. Welcome, guys, to the broadcast. For those who are coming through for the first time, you are more than welcome. For those who keep coming, keep doing what you're doing. I love it. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this content. You can put on your notification bell so that you are notified each time we post a new video. Now, let's get into this video. Guys, I just wanted to make a video on just my opinions on this guy, Nota. Nota is an interesting human being, right? We all know he went on Twitter the time Sol Phenduka got a job from KFM, and basically he ignited beef with Sol Phenduka. The guys never really entertained him, and they spoke about everything else that everybody said about Sol Phenduka moving to KFM. We all had our own opinions about it, but it didn't seem as personal as it was for Nota. Nota literally seemed like he was fighting for something that was his. Fast forward, this week something comes up. Berita, a woman who was known as Nota's wife, announces that Nota is no longer with her, and she goes on to apologize to Mihlali Ndamase. I guess she's kind of felt like whatever Nota is doing is kind of starting to affect her career, her opportunities, and she wanted to distance herself from Nota. Nota hasn't said anything. Surprisingly, he hasn't said anything. But his ex-wife, if I may call it that, because she said they're no longer together, she did mention that Nota has never touched her, but he was emotionally abusive. So the guys this week came on the podcast because obviously they talk about things that are trending. They were bound to talk about Nota and Berita. And I think that's the only reason the guys spoke about him, because they decided not to speak about Nota because they don't want to feed the beast. Because it seems that Nota feeds off all the attention, whether negative or positive. They mentioned a lot of things on the podcast about how he would even mention to Sol Phenduka after they had an argument on Twitter. Then Nota would go and inbox him privately and say, "Thank you for that. I gained 20,000 subscribers." Even now, today he was posting something, a screen grab, that he was comparing himself to the mayor, Herman Mashaba. He was comparing himself with Herman Mashaba because they both went to the Hustlers Corner, which is DJ Spoo's podcast. So somebody posted something that he retweeted that, and he wrote, "After I make my sister Dr. Basani Baloyi president in 2024, I think I should run for mayor of Johannesburg in 2026. I'm clearly more influential than Herman Mashaba. Numbers don't lie." And then he posts the views of his show when he was hosted on the Hustlers Corner and Herman Mashaba's views. Now, this is interesting to me after Sol Phenduka had mentioned that, and MacG, that, the guy really would do anything to get attention. And MacG mentioned something. He said, "I blame the podcast for what has happened to Nota." That Nota had always been working behind the scenes in a way, like he's helped some people become famous, and now he's never really had the spotlight shine on him. And when he experienced that after he went to the podcast, because once you go to the podcast you become an instant hit, he wanted that, more and more of that, and he's been going and talking everywhere because he's trying to get attention. I'm not sure what Nota's plan is. Nota is very smart. I mean, you listen to the guy and you are bound to hear something that you didn't know before. But what I don't get is that somebody who's so smart can also be so destructive. And I fail to understand the reason behind his tactics. And the whole conversation and everything that has transpired has taken me back to the first time I found out about Nota. It was during the time of lockdown. COVID exposed a lot of people. A lot of things were exposed during COVID because, you see, nobody has a need to confront, everything when you're making money. There may be things that you're unhappy with, but just running out of resources to expose what has not been spoken about and what is there but hidden. If you remember, Nota started beefing with Makwa. He started talking about Questa. And I remember Questa's wife saying that I think she was trying to encourage her husband, Questa, that there are people who enjoy. I'm paraphrasing, but to my understanding of what she wrote was that some people enjoy, swimming in the mud in a way, and they want to drag you into that because that's where they thrive. And she was sort of saying to her husband, don't entertain him. He wants you to engage because that's where he's most comfortable. He wants to drag you to his filth in a way. And I was thinking the whole time that Sol was addressing Nota, is he really doing the right thing by expressing his frustration and confronting Nota? Because Nota, that's what it thrives on, and that's not what Sol thrives on. That's not Sol's advantage, you know. So if Sol is gonna confront Nota, he's playing into Nota's hands. And when they ignored him, that was great. But look at him now. Today he's tweeting left, right, and center and dissing Sol. He's creating beef and rivalry. And the truth is, there is no beef, there is no rivalry. Sol was just upset with Nota and was expressing his reasons behind being upset. And I knew it was not going to end. And Nota seems like the kind of person who will go for anyone who's at the top. He wants you to befriend him. And the way things look, I remember exactly, Questa kept on saying, no matter what the guys go around saying, I never looked for anyone. They came to me because I was dope. And this whole thing that is playing itself out with the podcast and chill, Nota had burnt his bridges there, and he knew there's nothing to milk anymore there. So now he's moving to the next big thing. He comes across as those people. I don't know, guys, if you know those people that are looking for fame. We have them. We see them all around us in our communities. We see them on social media. We see celebrities like that, you know. And Nota to me comes across that way, you know. And it's solely because of what Questa said. I paid attention to it, but obviously there was not enough evidence to back it up. And I watched him just, this obsession that he has now with Mac G. I think he had an obsession with Questa, but because of the nature that the business they were involved in, he mingles himself with people, right? And he becomes infectious because he claws climbing on people to get attention, to get fame, you know. He is smart. And I'm just trying to understand that type of character, because for somebody who's so smart, he should be independent as well. But for some reason, he doesn't seem like he's able to use his brains to build something from scratch that he entirely, himself alone has built in order for himself to be where he wants to be. Somehow he has to find something to climb on. But once he gets there, he becomes infectious, you know, he becomes toxic. And for some reason, there's an obsession and a need to dominate and control environments that he identifies as potential ladders to wherever he wants to climb to. And we have those people, we've met those people in our lives where they're all about where you are. And because of the exposure you will give them, they will use you, they'll associate with you, they'll create issues with you. Because for some reason, to fight with you makes them equal. Those are just my thoughts. So my thoughts on Nota, in conclusion, I really think the guy is somebody who's looking for big platforms for whatever agenda he has that only he knows about. But whatever is hot, he's not able to create it for himself. So he'll ride on anything that's hot and anything that's funky and that's youth. He wants to be there. He wants to be in that light. But I think he was trying that because if you listen to the guys on the podcast, they're all, he had everybody's numbers and he was harassing everybody with messages that they were not really comfortable with until they all started blocking him. And as alleged, Sol was the last one to block him. I think he wanted to worm himself in like he did with Questa in them. But he succeeded with Questa because Questa maybe is not one of those people who are paying too much attention to everything that's happening around him. He was just busy minding his own business and doing music, and he allowed Nota in. But that was his mistake. But these guys are different. These guys are sharp. He couldn't penetrate that circle. And the guys saw it coming, so they didn't allow him in. Because had he gone in there, he was going to be infectious to that circle. And I think he really wanted to. He wanted to be part of the podcast and chill. And usually, people like Nota, they offer their intelligence, right? They make you feel like you need them. And they come in and they take over your platform. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.